Hi, this is Nina, and I'd like to give you a behind the scenes look at the track Underwater as featured in Philosophy Tube's most recent video.
You had to make it up and down. Embers fly and fall to the ground. Underwater, I'm safe and sound.
I've put a link to Abby's video below. It's excellent, it's got so many layers. You should totally check it out. Abby asked me to make something laid back and trip hop inspired, taking a leaf out of Portishead's book. It needed to be a little sexy but also kind of messed up as the video gets quite creepy towards the end. I started by putting down a basic trip hop inspired beat that would loop through most of the track. I used Addictive Drums 2 to do this and the United Pop Kit. I made a few tweaks to it and changed a bit of the EQ to make it sound a bit more lo-fi. I generally play in acoustic drum parts rather than programming them to make them feel a bit more natural, and I tend to use the keyboard to do this rather than a drum pad. I think I'm just used to the layout. The main loop went something like this. There's also an additional layer of drums towards the end of the track. These are a lot louder than the trip beat drums. It's the same kit, mic'd a little differently, and everything's sort of saturated and turned up to 11. Next I added the bass and the electric piano. I mixed a bit of synth bass in there as well because the acoustic bass on its own was a little muddy. It just sort of brings it out a bit. A similar bluesy melody is also played on the electric piano. There are also some chords played on this electric piano. There's quite a bit of tremolo on that, and as soon as you add a trip hop beat, it's kind of always reminds me of Portishead. In the video, there's a new character who's related to an older character called the Arsonist. This made me want to put as many fire references in there as I possibly could. I wanted to keep things mostly subliminal, and I got some quite nice ASMR style recordings of matches, lighters, and even a gas stove. This is the setup I used to record the matches. I've got some sound dampening material here and a plate for the spent matches. Safety first, of course, and it should probably go without saying that you shouldn't play with fire. Oh, by the way, that thing on the front of the sound recorder that looks like the mandibles of some sort of robotic insect is an XY microphone, so we're recording in stereo. One more thing, I poured a tiny bit of water onto the plate to extinguish the matches and to capture some sizzles. You should always keep your robot pets hydrated. Okay, let's start with some basic sounds. Opening the drawer. Maybe grab a match. Let's try striking a match now. This is some hot ASMR right here. Originally I was going to record the sound of some record crackles to add a bit of trip-hop authenticity, but after hearing the sound of the sizzling matches I wanted to use those instead. It's really interesting how similar they sound. So I found when I did this that I wasn't totally happy with the sound the striker was making, so I took a piece of sandpaper, wrapped it around a box and used a spent match to make the striking sound. For the lighters, I used a couple of different brands. These have got no fuel in, but that doesn't really matter. Let's try the Striker. The other lighter's got quite a different sound to it. Let's try that one. In an effort to cram in as many fire references as possible, I also spent some time sampling the gas stove. Once everything was recorded, it was time to fire up Ableton. After a bit of editing, I had got a nice loop. For the lighters and the gas stove, I created a couple of drum kits so that I could play any rhythm I wanted. Putting all that together, here's what it sounds like in the busiest part of the track. And here it is in context. So the idea with all these little subliminal additions is that you may not necessarily take them in consciously, but it might make you feel a little uneasy when listening to it. I wanted the guitar sound to be quite messy and dirty, so I set up a few pedals, including a wah-wah and a tube overdrive. I improvised a little melody in the minor pentatonic scale with some bends that push it into the blues territory. The track was supposed to be an instrumental, but while taking a shower, yes, that's literally underwater, I came up with a simple phrase and melody that just sort of seemed to fall into place. The idea behind the lyrics was that the character is safe from the fire as long as she's underwater, but at some point she's going to have to come up for air. I recorded some scratch vocals, literally at the desk here. I recorded a main and a couple of doubles. I wasn't totally sure whether to send the version with the vocals over or not, but I did, and Abby liked them. Not only that, but they gave some bearing on how the character turned out, making them more tragic and less monstrous. That did warm my heart, as it were. I wanted to make the vocals sound close and breathy, almost like they'd been recorded in some sort of smoke-filled club.
To make it up and down, embers fly and fall to the ground. Underwater, I'm safe and sound. And down, embers fly and fall to the ground.
I really enjoyed making this track, and I hope you found this little behind the scenes interesting. I'll put a link to the track in the description below. Until next time, stay safe, look after each other, and I'll see you again soon.